to inspire, heal, and transform, reminding us that every challenge is a chapter and every success is a triumph worth sharing. Hi there, welcome to the Spark, a podcast dedicated to bringing you stories of transformation, real stories of some silent heroes. This podcast is about resilience, hard work, willpower, and determination. It is about the desire to succeed. We are here to share our challenges, failures, and victories with the hope of inspiring each and every one of you. My name is Mabel Shu, and I am your host. My guest for today is Gideon Fidelis Ekom. Gideon is a Nigerian serial entrepreneur, business development professional, and the founder and CEO of Rent Better House, a leading property technology platform focused on addressing the challenges of house renting in Africa through the provision of streamlined home rental services. He also serves as the Nigerian country director for the Next Generation Global Connect (NGGC), an organization that aims to empower young people around the world by providing them with knowledge, tools, and platforms to address the pressing global challenges affecting the youth. Driven by his passion for innovation, youth empowerment, and economic development, Gideon is also an author. His book, Refining Success, guides undergraduates and graduates in navigating career transitions beyond academic qualifications. In his book, he addresses why career transitions are becoming very common. He highlights how to discover your unique path and provides guidance on how to make the transition. Hi, Gideon. It's great to have you today. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Mabel. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. Okay, so Gideon, the question I always ask at first, take us back to your childhood. I know most of the time, as children, we have a lot of dreams, but when you were a kid, what was your dream, or what were your dreams? What did you want to become in future?
Okay, thank you so much for that question, Mabel, and thank you for having me. Yeah, while growing up as a child, I wanted to become a lawyer. It was quite funny, because I love seeing the way lawyers were challenging people, in courts, people who did wrong and all of that. It was always nice to watch. But along the way, my dad had to literally, inform me that lawyers were not making money as at the time.
Oh
And I needed,
no.
yeah, I needed to study something that, was lucrative as at the time. So yeah, that's one of the experiences I had while
Oh,
growing up.
wow. So your dad discouraged you from becoming a lawyer. Then you went ahead to do an undergraduate in international relations and diplomacy. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand, why did you finally switch from becoming a lawyer? Like, what was your interest in international relations? Why did you now decide to do international relations? You could have done any other thing,
hmm
social
Okay, so
sciences.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I decided to do international relations because was more of I was looking at working in international space,
Mm.
everything that has to do with relating with people internationally,
Mm.
the opportunities that came with working internationally as well. So that was why I decided to dive into the course
You
and
mean you were looking for
changing.
opportunities to Japan?
No, not literally Japan, but where you're at that position whereby uh you're canvassing for change in your country,
Mm, mm.
So I wanted to be part of those who are bringing about a positive change in the Nigerian space.
Okay. And so you moved from wanting to be a lawyer to wanting to bring about positive change. And then you still went on to do an MBA in operations management. So what happened to your love for positive change? How did you suddenly want now start doing operations management?
Okay, so the international relations thing course I studied also relates to all of this because studying that course, you could literally, work anywhere, apart from the fact that it is focused on foreign affairs and policies and politics, you know, and being a diplomat. In the operations aspects, over the years, I've been opportune to work in senior management roles,
Mm,
and there was a need to advance my knowledge and advance my skills.
okay,
And
okay.
I saw that as an opportunity to, add this knowledge to, my experience, my hands-on experience, which I already have,
Mm,
and to also prepare me for the future. Because working in senior management roles comes with a whole lot of, responsibilities
yeah,
in
right.
which decisions you take could literally make those companies or literally bring those companies to ground zero.
Mm, okay. And has there ever been a moment where you questioned your decisions around moving from wanting to be a lawyer to wanting to do international relations, to now adding to operations management?
Not really.
Right.
I don't think any I could remember of right now, but I think so far so good. All the decisions have been really been how do I put it now? Okay by me, because in one way or the other they have contributed to my growth.
Right, right. Okay. Your career path, did you have a mentor at any point, apart from maybe the support that your dad provided? Did you have a mentor at any point during your journey?
Okay, for mentorship, I would literally say I look up to so many people, especially to those who are actually advanced, that are doing well in their different sectors.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not say I literally had a specific mentor.
Mm, okay.
And literally, I looked up to, the different people in different sectors who are actually making it both locally and internationally.
Uh-huh. Okay. Do you think that maybe if you had a mentor, maybe at the university level, things would have been different for you?
Well, I can't really say.
You've
I
never
can't
really
really
thought about it.
say. I've never thought about it, but I believe, I'm a God person, so I
Mm,
believe God actually has his reason for everything.
right.
All I try doing is actually staying on the right path, being guided right as expected,
Mhm.
and ensuring that, I just stay focused.
Okay. So Gideon, usually sometimes as youth, when they are struggling to find their feet, when you're
Hmm.
able to find that thing that you're very passionate about, there's this feeling like that this is the thing you want to do. Do you remember that moment where you were able to identify that this is exactly what I want to do, considering that you've tried your hands around a couple of things? Can you tell us
Mm.
when you actually identified that, yes, this is the moment and this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So yeah, I got to identify that, or would I say, I came to the realization of that during my university days. I
Okay.
came to understand that I was a people's person. What
Right.
I mean by people's person in sense of I have a way of coordinating, bringing people together
Mm-hmm.
from different communities or walks of life, or name them, different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got to know this, I saw that probably this was as a result of maybe my educational background
Mm-hmm.
having an influence on me based on the fact that, oh, since I was studying a course on international relations, when it comes to the relations aspect of it, I have this diplomatic way of bringing people together. So when I
Indeed.
understood, yeah. So when I understood this, I decided to key into it, or would I say tap into it. And funny enough, that has literally been opening doors for me. It has contributed to my growth process.
Right. Okay. And so having to transition from the beginning where you wanted to be a lawyer, finally going to do international relations and then to operations management, there were definitely challenges. So can you share with us your struggles, the challenges you faced along the line, and how were you able to overcome them?
Well, funny enough, if I tell you that at some points I was also an artist, a music artist,
Oh,
it will sound so
right.
funny.
Yeah, it does sound funny. At what point was that
Yes.
actually?
That point was actually after school. after school, but it was more like a journey though. It was more like a journey because I was trying to find my feet.
All
I,
right.
I, I during that period, so many things were happening.
Yeah.
My the entrepreneurial aspect of me was also playing out. I remember selling things in school, perfumes then in school,
Oh, you
to
started
keep up.
early.
Yeah, sort
Right.
of, and
Right.
my parents also encouraged me. They were like, this guy, everything you want to do, you know what, whichever way, just keep doing what you're doing,
So
and
at least
probably
at
you'll
least you
find your
got
fit.
the support from your parents.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because
yes.
you know that in some instances, when the parents want their child at a young age to become something, and then the child grows
Hmm.
up and realizes that life is sometimes difficult and you might not always do the things that you wanted to do at a young age, they start kind of withdrawing when they realize that their child is
Hmm.
not doing what they want to do. So at
Hmm.
least the nice thing is that you got the support from your parents on that, like they gave you the opportunity to explore and just find that thing that you enjoy doing. I think
Yeah,
that was really a nice thing. Okay, now back to
yeah.
the challenges you had. Please share with
Mm.
us your challenges.
It was really crazy because at some point I kept asking myself, what am I really doing?
Right.
Is it music I want to do? Is it entrepreneurship I want to go into?
Mm,
Do I want to be a career path person? What is it really I wanted to do? It was a confusing state for me, I would
mhm,
not lie. But again, I think it was also an avenue to literally explore
mhm,
all the talent and skills I had. Even till date, I still don't stop in exploring the, talent and skills I have. Because at the end of the day, God has embedded in all of us, different skills and talents and all of that. It's just that uh, opportunities tend to unveil those, skills of us if we have it in us,
mhm.
and that literally is what stands us out. So yeah, it was a challenging period for me, but I am also thankful because if I never explored any of those skills of mine or talents of mine, I am not sure I would have been able to define my purpose today.
Right, right. Okay. Um, so I'm looking at, yes, so far you've been successful. You've been able to identify at least some of the things you love. But I'm also interested in knowing, that failure. One of my
Mm.
interviews, there was this lady who said it's okay to make mistakes, that sometimes we need to make mistakes to be able
Mm-hmm.
to learn. So I'm looking at
Mm-hmm.
what role has failure played in your journey, and what are the things you've learned? Because definitely you failed along the line. Remember, you just said now that you
Of
had been
course.
asking yourself questions. So
Of course.
yeah, what are, like, if you have maybe an example of a time where you you looked at yourself and you're like, no, I'm not doing this. But I would like to know how
Mm-hmm.
this also played a role in your journey.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Failure has a way of shaping us,
Mm,
and at the end of the day, it depends on the individual or the personality involved. Because
mm,
for me,
mm,
based on my experience over the years, just like as I said earlier, this has literally shaped me.
mm,
Because if you literally don't fail, it would not teach you a lesson for you to open your eyes to see the next opportunity.
mm, mm,
But when you keep riding on and you feel you know everything and all of that, when you happen to get to that point where you fail, it has a way of breaking you. So for me, I would say
So it has
yes,
a way of breaking you.
yes, breaking you, and you tend to want to lose hope, start, um, faulting yourself for so
Mm,
many things. But I remember when I started my online business, that was the
right.
time I was also into online sales. Then I had this brand name, Mr. Vendor. It was an online
Aha!
store. Yeah. And that was before COVID, and I really made good monies from it. And at some point, then I was a banker. I used to work in the bank then,
Oh, wow.
and I was literally combining the two.
So what
It
have
was
you
very
not
lucrative.
done yet, actually,
I've
because you're
not
still
I've
exploring?
I've not I've not killed somebody. That's
Well,
that's what I've not done.
right. Okay.
And I've not stole as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, so those were, yeah. at some point it was quite challenging trying to meet up because it was demanding.
Mm-hmm.
I had built a brand whereby people were literally interested in my products and services, but I could not keep up because of how demanding it was. I never knew it would be that quite demanding, that the
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship life is crazy,
Oh, it
you
is.
know? Yeah. And if I never had that experience, I'm not sure I would have been able to build, the businesses I have built over the years, and
Exactly.
also the businesses I've been part of over the years, which are successful today.
Yeah, right, right. The power of experience. Sometimes you need to go through
Yes,
something to be able to understand it better. Right.
true.
Just quick question around the Mr. Vendor. What inspired that name, Mr. Vendor? What inspired the name?
Okay. I literally needed something unique. I'm somebody who is always after something which is relative and unique to people. you know I am a people's person, just
Mm,
like as I said before, and whatever it is I do, I ensure that the next person beside me should be able to relate to it.
right.
When you want to go into any business or start up anything, it first starts with your name. It needs to be relative enough for your customers to want to align with you.
Mm,
From there you can build a community around your business. So yeah, Mr. Vendor was very catchy. I literally had to come up with something that, you know, anybody could easily, recall or remember. And then it was more of a signature. Till today, most people still call me Mr. Vendor,
of course. So that when
and
we
the
see
name
Mr.
has stick.
Vendor, we just know that he's selling something. So now we are interested in knowing what
Yeah,
what he's selling.
yeah, sure,
Right,
true,
right.
true.
Okay. So, Gideon, in throughout your career path, with considering your failures, your successes, what's the one thing you find most fulfilling about what you do today? Or that one accomplishment that you can proudly say, this is mine?
The fact that I've been able to impact in people over the years positively, it's what I'm proud of.
Mm,
Uh, I've gotten series of messages, in the time past recently, and people talking about how I encourage them, how I inspire them through the
right.
things I do.
Mm,
And funny enough, these things I just do them, based on my own growth and development. And there are people they call sponsors.
mm-hmm.
Sponsors are literally not people that you run to them and you're asking for help and assistance and all of that. No, the category of sponsors I'm talking about are people who actually speak on your behalf in rooms in which you don't have access to,
Right,
and they're
right.
speaking positive things about you.
Yeah.
And these people carefully watch your growth over the years and they
Mm-hmm.
see how far you have come. And from time to time, they reach out to you to, congratulate you or inspire you or commend you on
Mm,
what you have been doing so far. So yeah, that has literally kept me going.
mm.
And I thank God for the opportunity and for all I do.
Okay. So, let's say I come to you today. You're a successful person, right? I'm just maybe about
Mhm.
to finish my undergraduate, and I come to you and say, "Wow, Gideon, you've been very successful. Can you please just share with me some of the habits or practices that have been critical to your success?" What are the things you would say?
Hmm. That question is very dicey. So it it literally depends on what people term success as,
Right,
For some people,
right.
wealth could be their own measure for success.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, being able to live in good health for a
Yeah,
very long time could be measured as success.
yeah.
It all depends on what they want. But for me,
Mm-hmm.
for somebody who is struggling, you don't need to beat yourself about anything because in this life, everybody has his or her own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So the earlier you identify your purpose and start working towards it, the better for you. And it starts from understanding what are those things you could conveniently do, even
Right.
when nobody's watching, that could literally, impact into life positively. You don't need to start waiting for accolades from people before
Mm-hmm.
you know that, oh, I am literally creating an impact which
Very
would
true.
literally stand you out as a successful person.
Very
But
true.
oftentimes we accord our success to wealth, we accord our success to the number of accolades we get from people and all of that. I will not lie.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's yeah.
while coming up, I was in positions like that whereby,
Mm.
I felt if nobody is talking to me, like applauding me for my effort and all of that, I had this inferiority complex concerning that. But,
Yeah, but
I came to the
it's
realization.
a thing with children. Like we like it's
Mhm,
a human thing. We like being praised. And most of the time when when we don't get the praises, it feels like we are not doing
mhm,
enough. So yes, I think I would really understand when people say that maybe they they had to, I don't know how to say it exactly, but to shy away or something because they were not getting
mhm,
the praises. So I really can't blame
mhm.
people if that's what they attribute their success to, just being praised.
Yeah, yeah, true. Because like I said, everybody needs to. Anyways, it's more of an orientation, sorry, a sensitization thing. I
Mm.
think we need to
Yeah,
do more sensitization in that aspect, so people are comfortable, walking at their own pace and getting to know that success is being measured differently
right,
and not by
right,
wealth or the number of accolades and all of that. I think that would give people a more guided approach towards their impact in the society.
right, right. I like the thing you said about identifying your purpose. And I'm also sure that's even
Mhm.
one of the things you highlighted in your book, that like you need to identify your
Yes.
purpose. I'm sure that anybody who takes the book, for those of us who are actually struggling in identifying that thing, I'm
Hmm.
sure if we read the book, we would have some guidelines on how to do that. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, right. So Gideon, you also mentioned something about you not having a mentor per se, but you just
Hmm.
looking up to people who are succeeding and
Hmm.
looking up to people who are excelling in a specific domain. So
Hmm.
now, just want to find out do you have a specific person that inspires you or a specific thing that inspires you or that keeps you going? You know, sometimes you get to a point where it feels like business is not working. It feels like the whole world is against you, but you have to move on,
Hmm.
right? Yeah. So do you have that thing or that person that inspires you to keep going, even when things seem like they are not working?
Sorry, I hate, well, let's say don't seem as if I'm sounding spiritual, but again, I'm a God person,
Yep.
so God
Yep.
keeps me going.
Right.
God
Right.
keeps me going.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say he keeps me going because oftentimes when I look at how far that I mean, how far I have come, I just return all the glory to him. There
Yeah.
are so many times I tend to want to break down or stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and when I remember, oh, okay, previous years, this where I am currently is what I was praying for, and God has made it possible. So why should I give up? That means what I'm expecting in the future to come, it will definitely come. So,
Mm.
in as much as God is the driver of is the one who, gives me that energy and the vibe to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at people who are doing well,
Yeah.
like I said before, in different sectors, you could literally see people who have been able to go through the hurdles of, you know, struggles just to be successful,
Mm.
in quotes, based on the
In
success the
quotes,
world
really
sees
in quotes.
as.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tend to, check what they are doing right
Mm-hmm.
and also emulate that. And also for me, the Bible is my standard.
Hmm.
It also provides a guide for me, yes, as well,
Very
to ensure
powerful.
that
Well, very
to
powerful. The
ensure,
Bible is your standard. Very powerful.
yes, to ensure that I'm on the right path. Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. So let's take you back to maybe
Mm.
when you were 5. So let's say looking back, right? What's that one piece of
Uh,
advice you would give to yourself, your 5-year-old self now?
hmm. Do I have any advice to
You
give to my
should.
5 year old self? No, I don't think. I think every experience was worth it. Every
Right.
experience was worth it. Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm not a fan, or I'm not in the school of thought of those people that will say, "Oh, I wish I could go back 10 years and correct
Yeah.
this and correct that."
Right.
I think it's all part of the process.
Yeah.
It's
So
all
you
part
don't
of the
have any
process.
regrets.
No, no, not at all.
Perfect. That's interesting. That's a very optimistic way of looking at life. But sometimes
Mhm.
you just need this optimism to get you going.
True.
Um, so Gideon, okay, now you wouldn't advise your younger self, but I'm very sure there are people out there that you can advise. Undergraduates who are leaving school, graduates who are leaving, people who have jobs and are transitioning, and all of these.
Yeah.
Life is a struggle. Every day we are learning.
Every
But
day, yeah.
yeah, if there's some advice you would want to give somebody, I'd remember in your profile, you're very critical to youth empowerment. So this is the moment.
Mm.
Just tell somebody something. Somebody's out there struggling to find a career and they are not able to. Somebody's out there struggling to find a purpose. They are not able to. People are out there struggling to understand what life is in general and they are not able to. So please, this is the moment. Just tell us.
Okay, to every young person that's struggling to find their way, you need to understand that life is not that difficult. I know, yes, in the African space, we come from this background whereby oftentimes our parents may want to impose things on us, that will literally, derail our, ideologies, or would I say our goals. These parents do that because, of course, they have had experiences before we came into this life. But it's also good that we tend to let them know that in as much as their wisdom and guide is needed, you know, you also have your own thing going for you. It's important you listen to their wisdom and guide. Don't do away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But what you read in school does not mean that that is literally what you would come practice tomorrow, or that is what determines your future. In as much as, yes, it works for some certain people, at the end of the day, it doesn't work for everybody. Like in my book, I highlighted, you know, African leaders, world leaders who transitioned from what they even studied in school. In fact, they were not even the best of students in
Mm-hmm.
school,
Mm-hmm.
but today they are the greatest people we're all celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
So just understand yourself. Do not put yourself under pressure. Take every experience as a learning process and just keep watering your garden, and tomorrow will become a brighter day for you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gideon. Understand
Thank
yourself.
you.
Take every experience as a learning process and just keep watering your garden. Thank you so much, Gideon. And to all of those who are listening, please don't forget to check out Gideon's book, Redefining Success. And stay tuned to our next episode. But until then, always remember, don't give up. Thank you so much, Gideon. It was amazing having
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you for having me.